If you're overthinking, then you're underfeeling. And if you're underfeeling, you're not in your body. And if you're not in your body, you're just surviving. Doing everything like your life depends on it is a pretty clear sign that you're surviving. A lot of the time, the busyness and the rush is someone else's values. So the part of our brain that keeps time actually goes offline when we're triggered. Our opinions of everybody else is a reflection of ourselves. The panic can't hurt you. The fear can't hurt you. The anxiety can't hurt you. I know it hurts. You can open your eyes at any moment. No amount of suffering is worth living with. You can heal it. It's the year of action. I want every woman to know that they deserve to do that work as well. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for somebody else that you love first, and eventually you'll love yourself enough to keep doing it for yourself.
This is Fernwood Unfiltered, the podcast with straight up expert-backed advice on women's health and fitness. And if you've been feeling drained, me. Stressed, me. Or like life is running you instead of the other way around, me. You want practical tools to feel grounded and empowered, also me, then this episode is for you. Jessica Ella is a leading women's trauma therapist in Australia with her own journey through trauma recovery and extensive work as a trauma therapist, working with thousands of women. Jessica has developed an internationally recognised certified practitioner training called Aruka Healing. I'm so happy that you are here with us today, Jess. What do you hope the woman listening gets out of our conversation today?
I think the main thing for all women every time I speak is that I want them to understand that they're not their past, because so much of what we're doing every day, the way that we're acting, the way that we're perceiving information, the way we're interacting with others, every single thought that we have is coming from something in the past. And we identify with it instead of realizing that, hold on, this is our subconscious mind, or this is, past narratives controlling the present moment. We think that it's who we are, and we think that it's truth. And I think that I wish that every woman knew that they're not their past, and that those thoughts in their head are not actually who they are, and it's not true.
We are starting so strongly. I am so excited. Part of our conversation, we're going to get into some deeper themes, but I wanted to kick things off with this whole concept of thriving rather than surviving. Now, you would not be aware of this, and I'm sure my fantastic Fernwood Unfiltered team also don't know this, but I'm quite famous in my friendship groups for being like, how are you? And I'm like, thriving, in like a completely sarcastic, not at all type of way. What is the difference between thriving and surviving?
To me, thriving is confidence. It's feeling calm, regulated, clear. It's being able to make decisions that feel good for yourself, not what other people think you should do. And it's thriving is living in alignment with who you want to be, not who the world told you that you had to be, not trying to fit in and mold to society's expectations, but also to sometimes we can have these experiences that push us into surviving in a way that feels good, where we're like, I'm kicking all these goals and I'm becoming something, and I'm, in my career or in a relationship, and we can start to feel like we're thriving, but we're actually very dysregulated. So we're rushing around, we're constantly stressed, we're constantly burning out, and we're pushing. And I always think of it as like this push-pull energy. I think like when you're thriving, you're being pulled towards things and it feels exciting and effortless. Whereas when you're surviving, you're pushing for everything. Like you're pushing to get through the day. You're pushing to get to achieve the next goal. And you're constantly, when you're surviving because nothing's ever enough. You're always pushing to that next thing, next goal. Whereas thriving to me is like being present, being so excited about life, about the day, about what's ahead, and actually being able to take it all in. I think that when you're surviving, you're not actually taking anything in. You're just making it through.
I've just sat up slightly straighter because I feel like a lot of your words there have really hit me, really hit hard. What kind of drew you to this field, Jess, in the first place? How, if you are able to and keen to, what's your personal story and relationship with trauma?
Yeah, well, I guess there's a spectrum of trauma, and a lot of women can be suffering with these like what we'll call smaller T traumas, like, things that have happened in their childhood that weren't necessarily abusive, but were just not ideal. there's this full spectrum, and I am on the very high end spectrum of that. So my trauma is not relatable to everybody, but elements of it are relatable to people. So I was sexually abused by my father from 3 years old throughout my whole childhood. His father, my grandfather, took my virginity when I was 7, quite brutally. I was bullied. I was like physically abused, hit. I'm permanently deaf in my left ear from my father hitting me so hard that my eardrum, like my nerve, got nerve damage. I was criticized. I was abused. It was a really rough childhood, which kind of led into rough teen years where, I was looking for validation through men's validation, because that's all I'd learned from my father. Love was abuse. Love was scary, terrifying. You had to give yourself. These were the sorts of things that I started to believe. And so my teen years was just seeking that there, heartbroken, lots of just extra trauma to sort of layer on top. And then more abuse by my dad, quite bad abuse in my teen years, like being tortured. Just like quite extreme, quite extreme abuse.
But how did you then, I mean, for all of our listeners, like sitting across from you, you have this light.
Thank you.
You're so bubbly and your energy is overwhelmingly positive. What made you want to turn all of those horrible experiences into helping others through that?
I think I have this like blend of when I was with my father, because my mum and dad were divorced. Mm-hmm. When I was with my father, there was this like darkness and this terror. And when I was with my mum is an empathetic, kind, gentle soul. And so I think I had a lot of her in me, and I had this empathy and this understanding of what was right and wrong. And so I think from a really young age, I've always wanted to help other people. And so what actually got me into healing was wanting to help other people who were suffering, because I couldn't stand seeing other people suffering. And obviously it was like, me trying to heal myself as well. But I got obsessed with healing and therapy and how it all works, because I wanted to help other people, because I've just always been that way. I was very protective of my brother and sister. I'm the eldest in my family. Yeah. So I was always protecting them from trying my best to protect them from being abused, and just a really protective person. And so it led me into wanting to understand, how can I help people? How can I help people to end suffering? Because it's just it's one of those things. When I see someone suffering, I'm like, oh, I've got the tools, I've got the help, I can help you. And so I think I've just always had this internal power. And that's not to say, like, the person I am here before you has done like 15 years of deep work and learning and working through those layers to get here. So I think it wasn't always that way. But in saying that, so many people in my family and in my life have said, you've always had that glimmer of light, and this just like nothing's going to beat me. I'm not going to let it beat me.
You talk about that spectrum when it comes to trauma, suffering, our past grievances, and obviously there's going to be very, very different ends to that spectrum. For people who haven't lived your life and maybe do even minimize their own trauma, even if it's not to the same extent that you suffered, how can we be better at not doing that, at not talking ourselves or just dismissing it and being like, no, people have it so much worse than me. I should be able to get through this.
Yeah, that's like so many of my clients over the years would be like, I feel bad even saying this to you because of what you've been through. I'm like, I literally, all suffering is suffering. Like, all grief is grief, all pain is pain, all terror is terror. Like, it's the same. It doesn't matter really what happened. I mean, there are some caveats to that, but like it really doesn't matter. What matters is that it's affecting you, and comparing it to somebody else doesn't make it less. It doesn't feel less in your body. It doesn't feel like less of a rejection. It doesn't feel like less of a pain. It just pushes it down, and you pretend that it's not there, and it builds over time. And so I think comparing is pointless. It's a completely pointless thing to do. I think that a lot of women don't realize how the small things can really add up as well. So for instance, you're in grade 2 and you are arriving at school, and the friends that you normally play with all say, we don't want to play with you today. And they run away from you. Like, super common childhood experience. But if you don't have like this sense of strong self-worth, maybe at home your parents are a little bit absent, don't really, pump you up and give you the love you need. And, you don't have this strong sense of self-worth to go, you know what? I don't care that they don't want to play with me. I'll make other friends. If you don't have that blueprint and you haven't been given that sort of childhood, you're going to take that on and you're going to internalize that. And you're, as a however old you are in grade 2, I should know that. My son is in grade 2. 8 or 9. 8 or 9.
Oh my God, I failed. I was
9.
like, geez, the maths has started early and I can't do it.
Your 8 or 9-year-old logic is pretty limited.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But we hold on to that and we judge ourselves forever.
Forever with the same logic as the 8-year-old. So like we are technically 30, 40, however old-year-old women walking around with the minds and the subconscious beliefs that we created in the first 10 years of life with our 5-year-old selves, understanding of who we are. So unless we do that work to change it, we don't actually have a new identity around who we are. It's formed in those younger years. So that 8-year-old child might think, well, nobody loves me, or there's something wrong with me because they all don't want to play with me. There's something wrong with me. You carry those words paired with that feeling of rejection for the rest of your life unless you work on it. Like it doesn't just heal itself. It's what I call an open memory. And every time you feel a micro rejection or somebody says something like, oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, you're that 8-year-old child again experiencing this rejected feeling, and you're going to respond like an 8-year-old, which is why people respond so crazy when they're triggered.
Yes,
because you're being taken back into that moment. And when you're taken back, whether it's visually or just your body is being taken back and you're feeling that way, you actually don't know that you're not back there. So the part of our brain that keeps time actually goes offline when we're triggered. So
really,
we're actually reacting like literally as that 8-year-old. So,
which I've never had that explained to me before. So sorry if I'm like standing here looking at you
no.
agog. Because I'm like, of course that makes so much sense.
It does.
That you're there going back to that 8-year-old processing system.
Yeah, because that's the reference that you have for what to do. And what you did in that moment is what you're going to probably do next, which it might be like stomp your feet and be like, no, like, or, like it might be something that feels really childlike and you're like, why did I act like that? Or you might isolate. You might have gone and isolated and sat in the quiet area or, gone and sat on your own. And then as soon as somebody in a social situation says, oh, what's wrong with you? You go home and don't see anyone for a week and you shut everyone out.
Yes.
Like we go through those same behaviors because we don't know how to cope because we didn't get the blueprint from childhood. So this is where we actually have to go back and speak to, and people think that that's a small thing. But if you have this belief that there's something wrong with you, I like to think of it as like this little tiny wound that over the years just
becomes a gaping chasm.
Yeah. And so, you think at the beginning, it's just this little thing, but every time something happens, you think, oh, what is wrong with me? There is something wrong with me. And then it's like, this is wrong with me. That's wrong with me. And you start picking on yourself physically. I'm dumb. I'm this, I'm that. And there's all of these beliefs that start to stack on top of it every time you have a similar experience. So if somebody said, if you thought there's something wrong with me, and someone says it about your appearance, you'll start to think there's something wrong with the way you look. But if someone says it about a mistake you've made at work, you'll start to think that there's something wrong with you in your career. You'll start to think there's something wrong with you in your intelligence. And so we start to like build on it. And it's this.
So it's cumulative is what I'm getting. It's like adding. Let's work on that blueprint then though. You say that it takes work.
Yes.
I've got my sleeves rolled up. I'm ready to get in. I'm ready to dig in.
Do you want to do it now?
I think we will. I think we're going to do some work. I think we're going to do some work in this episode. But when it comes to that concept of being in survival mode, what's a telltale sign that you're existing in that?
Yeah. For women, the most common things that I see is rushing.
Yeah.
So like doing everything like their life depends on it, like washing their hair like this, mopping the floors like this. Like there's reels like this on social media at the moment, but doing everything like your life depends on it is a pretty clear sign that you're surviving because you're doing everything like your life depends on it. I think a lot of the signs as well is like the limiting beliefs and the thoughts that you're having. Like if you're thinking to yourself every day, I'm not good enough and I should be this and I should be that and I should be further along and why am I like this? And you're looking in the mirror and you're you're hating yourself. That's not thriving. That's not living. That's not being in this body and experiencing all the beauty of the world. That's being in your head. I often say to people, if you're overthinking, then you're underfeeling. And if you're underfeeling, you're not in your body. And if you're not in your body, you're just surviving. So if you're constantly overthinking, running thoughts through your head, anxiety, going through a million different scenarios, that again that's survival. That's like, how can I survive the day? How can I survive this world? How can I survive life? And you're logically trying to think it and figure it all out instead of just being like, the sun's coming through the window. I'm going to sip my coffee. It tastes so beautiful. It tastes so
Which
good.
is probably also what I'm just thinking about my own algorithm. And it's like why sometimes it's like those particular videos that I see of people like romanticizing my life. And it's like I've lit a candle and I've closed the blind slightly and like all of this and isn't it great? And I'm like, wouldn't that be lovely as I throw my phone away because I have to get ready and then I'm rushing around.
Yeah.
So that is exactly that survival mode.
Yeah.
Those tropes that you're kind of talking about. How can that present in a physical manifestation for us? So potentially we're not quite aware that it's happening. What are some signs that we can see and be like, oh, hang on, maybe I do need to pause here?
Yeah, like waking up exhausted.
Mm. Okay. All right. Wait, I'm getting targeted here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I feel like it does feel like a personal attack sometimes. I think when you're not listening to your body because you're in survival mode, it does scream at you. Like you said, it's not little niggles anymore. It's like it's really yelling. And I think that's waking up exhausted every morning, even if you've had good sleep, waking up exhausted.
Yep.
Physically as well, I find a lot of women will be they'll have like clenched fists.
I'm so sorry. You looked at my hands and I was like, I am all of this cue card very firmly. Yes.
Don't attack me. No, like clenched fists, their clenched jaw, their shoulders are up instead of like quite relaxed and down. They are experiencing a lot of the time like really hot body temperatures, racing heart. A lot of women that come to me have like neck pain, back pain, constant headaches, migraines, things like that. Comes up in that way. But I think there are so many different physical manifestations of stress and of chronic stress because stress is inflammatory. And so then we have a whole spectrum of inflammatory diseases now that are popping up in different areas of the body, labeled as different things, but probably is really coming back to women.
What are some of those different labels that are getting thrown around potentially for some other areas within this?
Yeah. Autoimmune diseases are that category where they're like, there's all of these different diseases that fall under autoimmune. And a lot of the time doctors are like, we don't really know why it happens, but they're all somewhat to do with inflammation. And I just feel like when I look at that and when I research that, I think every woman is walking around, not every woman, but most women, highly stressed.
Yeah.
And the stress, like, if we bring it back to your beliefs create your thoughts and your thoughts tell your body what's happening. Your thoughts tell your body, we're good to like, rest and digest our food, relax, like everything's fine. Let's do a bit of a clean out. We're in that flow state and we're regulated, or we're in survival and we need to protect ourselves. And if we're needing to protect ourselves, the blood's going to our legs so that we can run away and it's not going to our vital organs. And then we've got this blood chemistry of if our brain is telling us all the time, we're not safe, that's not safe, this isn't safe, I feel anxious, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. We've got cortisol just pumping through our body. And we have an immune system that's switched off and a digestive system that's not working properly to be able to detox all of that. All of a sudden we've got an excess of cortisol in our body that we can't get rid of. And so it's not, and then people go on these like cortisol diets and like they go on these different journeys to try and fix the body. But most of it actually resolves when they stop stressing and when they move out of survival and they actually start to relax. And because your body, I believe, knows how to heal itself. It's intelligent. So it's actually taking a step back and being like, hold on, if I didn't believe that I was being chased by a hypothetical threat, tiger, whatever, all day, every day, my body could probably actually start to heal itself.
I want to get into some practical tips for how we can go about better regulating our nervous systems. But Perhaps we could reframe it in this way, because I know if our listeners are anything like me, which I think that they are, a lot of times you'll be listening to these conversations and you think, well, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me, because you can kind of like, you'll just dismiss again your own feelings, right? Or you'll just minimize them. In your mind, what does a stress-free person look like?
Well, I don't think anybody is fully stress-free.
True.
But a person who is regulated, like a person who can speak clearly, calmly, they really think about what they want to say, or they really think about what they want to do. I think a person who is not like, I should do this and I should do that and I should go there. And if you're living in that way, you're living because you want to please other people, not because you want to please yourself. But a calm person is somebody who's just, like I said before, taking in the moments. They're actually present. They're engaged in conversations. They're like excited to learn about people and about other things that are happening around them. They're not kind of like rushing through to get to the next thing. They actually want to engage. It's a slow way of living. And it feels really, really uncomfortable when you first do it if you've been rushing forever. And it's like hell. It is. And I think that's why people gaslight themselves into like, that's not me. That was me for years. That's not me. I'm thriving. I've just got a lot going on.
Me.
I've just got all these opportunities happening. Yeah. And it's like, oh, but I am waking up tired and I am going through periods of burnout where I just want to quit everything and just start a new life on an island. That's probably a pretty clear sign.
Okay. All right.
But I think, yeah, this woman that is regulated, or the women that I work with, they are, they're lighting the candles, they're going slow, they're enjoying their meal, they're engaging with other women, they're connecting with other women, they're excited for life, but they're doing it at a slower pace. And I think that's really what nobody wants to hear, to be honest, because we want to achieve everything. But if we look at the flip side of that, like why? What do we want to achieve and why do we want to achieve it? And I think this is where once you start to strip back what's actually important, like what's really, really important, you realize that a lot of the time the busyness and the rush is someone else's values and someone else's, doing it all. We're doing it for somebody else. We're doing it for validation or importance or because everyone else is doing it, not because it's actually what we want. So I think when women heal, I find that they're back in line with their values, and it always comes back to the same things, like the people that they love, the things that they love. It just comes back to those connections and that slowness and actually being present. So yeah.
Let's get into that healing. I feel like I should say to everyone listening, welcome to my own personal therapy session. Because Jess, you were just hitting so many nails on the head for me. I'm very excited to see and to listen and learn from you about how we can move forward and how we can become women who are present.
Yeah.
Okay, Jess. So we figured out that we are potentially living in the busyness. We are living with dysregulation. What are some of the first steps for us to try and fix this? You said it's going to be hard.
Well, I mean, it was hard for me. And so I think it is important to highlight that like the more trauma you've had, the longer it takes generally.
Yes.
The more memories you have to close off, if you will, the longer, and the more untangling of your identity in that trauma, the longer it takes. The way that I like to think of it is there's 3 things that you really need to tackle. And the first thing before anything is safety in your body. So that comes through your nervous system. So we need to be, first of all, regulating our nervous system to create that safety in our body. And it's funny because there's a lot of things online about like, use this nervous system hack to strengthen your nervous system, reset your nervous system in 15 days, whatever, 10 days. There's all of these different things out there. And the reality is your nervous system, or your vagus nerve that runs from the base of your neck down and touches every part of your body, it can be strengthened. It's like a muscle. It's a nerve, but it's kind of like a muscle where you can strengthen it. But if you are strengthening your vagus nerve and you're strengthening your nervous system, what normally happens is you start to feel a little bit better and you're like, we're good to go. Let's rush again. Let's get back into it. Let's get back into the hustle.
I'm fixed. I can continue with the hustle.
And then you just burn out again and you weaken your vagus nerve and you're back in the same situation. So this is why it has to cover sort of this three-pronged approach. But the base of that is your nervous system and regulating your nervous system. Now, there are a billion nervous system reset tools out there that you can look up online. But honestly, the quickest way to heal your nervous system is to go slow. It's so simple, but it's to go slow. Like, get out of bed slowly, wash your hair slowly, vacuum the floor slowly. Like,
how many times did you forget to do that when you were trying to reset yourself?
Yeah, and it's a process.
Yeah,
of like I'd be like, why am I doing? Okay, so let's slow down again.
Wow, because you have to untrain.
You have to untrain, but this is where a lot of what is putting you back into survival mode is a chaotic mind, and is the memories that are triggering the thoughts, or the beliefs that are triggering the thoughts that are causing you to go back into this rat race in your mind. So this is why, on top of doing that nervous system work and on top of like trying to slow down and regulate, you actually do have to address the reason why you got to that state in the first place, because we don't just get there for no reason. Some people can live their lives regulated, which just seems wild to me, but
can they? I mean, great for them, but like, really?
Yeah,
there's people like that out there.
There are people
just
like
walking
that
around.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
My partner is one of them.
Oh my good.
He's always regulated. Always enjoying life.
Have you gone, tell me your secrets, I'll study your brain.
He's like, it's because I didn't have any childhood trauma. I'm like,
classic. There we go. There's a sign.
Yeah. But we need to be pairing that nervous system regulation with subconscious beliefs. And we need to be pairing the subconscious belief work with memory processing, which is the bit that people are like, not tapping out, not going there, because people don't want to revisit it. But they don't realize that they're actually revisiting it every single time they're triggered. Their body is revisiting it. Their nervous system is revisiting it. Like some people with flashbacks, visually revisiting it, but we are living our past over and over until we heal it. So
wow. So when you're trying to avoid it, you aren't.
You're not.
Is
ever.
What you're saying.
Can't.
Every time you're like, I'm not thinking about that, I'm going to distract myself with all of this. Well, guess what? Your body is still remembering anyway.
Yeah, because if this is like maybe it might be a lot, but your brain's job is to take what you believe and to create that reality via your perception. So it's not woo-woo. It's like literally we have this thing called our reticular activating system. So, you know, when you're like, I'm going to buy a white car, whatever the car is, and then you'll notice them everywhere.
Yes, you see it everywhere.
That part of your brain is doing that for every single subconscious belief that you have all day, every day. So there's millions and millions of bits of information around you all the time in this room, everywhere. But what you're noticing is going to be different to what somebody else in the room is noticing because of your reticular activating system, because of your beliefs. Like someone might be noticing the color of my hair and someone might be noticing my shoes or whatever. That's coming from their personality, which is their personal reality, which is their subconscious beliefs. So nobody is unaffected by their subconscious beliefs. Like we can go to the same social gathering and have the same conversation with somebody and both walk away with a completely different perspective and opinion of how that conversation went down, right? That's happened everywhere.
Yeah.
That's because our beliefs are shaping our perception of that. Like our opinions of everybody else is a reflection of ourselves, of our own internal beliefs, of what we choose to pick up and see and notice in those people. So you think that you're escaping it, but it's literally shaping your reality. It's shaping your life. Every single moment of every single day is affected by it.
Wow. So I mean, look, it does sound exhausting, right? So, and I feel like this is where people would be like, when you're dealing with the memory and you're having to do that work, you would be like, oh wow, it's a really deep well that I'm going to have to jump into.
Yeah. Or the good thing about the way that I've created the therapy is that because I am that person that was like, give me the quick fix. Like I don't want to ironically spend 15 years working out how to get the quick fix. But I think I was that person that was like, I don't want to deal with this forever. I want to get on with it. And so I spent a lot of time researching a lot of different ways that we can process memories and shift beliefs. And I think like clients, no matter what the trauma is, will come and it's one session for that trauma. Sometimes we can do multiple in one session, but when you come, we process that memory and we close it off and it's done. It's not like something that you have to work on forever. It's not like therapy where you have to go and speak about it every week or it comes up year after year. It's closed. It's complete. And the way that we complete that is in that memory or in that moment, you created a belief about who you are, about how the world works. If we use that grade 2 example, you created this belief of I am this person. Once you close off that foundational memory, it's kind of like the evidence that you are that person just fades away. You're like, that's not me anymore. Especially if someone's doing the subconscious belief work to get you to remove that belief that you are, I can't remember what my example was, but nobody likes me or there's something wrong with me. And then you're like, there's everything right with me. All of a sudden, when you've got that subconscious belief, the thoughts that you have is like, oh, look at me go. I did this, I did that. And the beliefs, the thoughts you're having are positive. Therefore, the interactions you're having are positive and you just experience a completely different life. So it is quite rapid and it is deep and it isn't as long a process as what you think. It's just that the volume of those memories can sometimes take time if you've got lots and lots of traumas. But the good news for people is that every time you do it, you get better and better. Like as in you feel better and better, lighter, and it becomes so much more easy to manage the next load of memories, the next, cycle. It becomes a lot easier and you've got this like strength and this knowing of like, I can do this, I can keep going.
Well, that's empowering, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how we become empowered.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you about some of the reactions of your clients that you see when they're going through this, but I just wanted to go back to you said there were 3 steps.
Yeah, so the memories, the subconscious beliefs, and the nervous system is the 3 things. But again, this is why I created Aruka Therapy, because we do all of that plus some energetics, which we won't go into because it's a lot. But we do all of that in one session, in one not moment, but yeah, we do that all combined together, which is what makes it.
If you are able to share, what are some of the reactions that you've seen from clients when they kind of have, to quote Oprah, this aha moment?
Yeah.
And they shut that memory. What's it like?
Oh, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it sometimes because it's the best feeling to watch that happen for somebody. But I think it often comes after the session where they'll message me. I get messages all the time saying my husband cannot believe, he thinks I'm a completely different person. He can't believe how calm I am, how happy I am. We haven't had any disagreements. Or I saw my friends the other day, they said that I feel different. I feel lighter. I'm glowing. I don't feel negative anymore. Like when other people are noticing, they start to notice, oh, okay, I've just realized that I've actually changed, because you don't sometimes realize that. You just kind of go out and live your life. But a lot of people will message within sort of like the 48 hours saying, I feel lighter. Those thoughts aren't there. I'm not having flashbacks anymore. Because I personally have been working the last 6 years with like the worst of the worst, like very complex, dark, deep trauma. So for them, it's things like I'm not having panic attacks every hour. I'm not having flashbacks anymore. Like, what did you do? This is like magic. But when they're in it, a lot of the time actually as well, again, this is good for people that can't really identify what's wrong. They might just be like, I'm rushing and I'm struggling and I'm anxious all the time, but I don't have any trauma. Like mine didn't come from anywhere.
Yeah.
For those people, when you go into your subconscious, which is an altered brainwave, so the brainwave that I take people into is a theta brainwave. So right now while we're talking, we're in a beta brainwave. And when I take them into theta, they go into this hypnotic-like state. It's where people do hypnosis. And what actually comes out of their mouth is a surprise to them.
Really?
Yeah. So people can have this, because we have like this barrier to protect ourselves from that pain. So all of a sudden you go in and you're relaxed and we put you into this altered brainwave and I ask you certain questions, and sometimes people will say something and be like, I don't know where that came from. And a lot of the time when they open their eyes, they go, oh, I just connected all these dots. I get goosebumps again.
Really?
I just connected all these dots. Like I just connected all these dots of like, this is why I do this and this is why I do that and this is why this happens. And all of a sudden then they're messaging me a few days later saying, I don't feel that way anymore. It's just gone. I can't explain it. It's just gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's like an exercise to help us reconnect with our body? So not we're probably not going to go on the theta
No.
brainwave. We're not going to go into a theta state, everyone. But what's an exercise to help us kind of relearn who we are?
Yeah. I think something that you can do, because like going into a theta brainwave is, you can't work with your own mind. It's very difficult, but you can work with your own body. And I think creating safety in your body and working with your body first is an amazing tool. I'm going to say something that's going to sound so weird if you've never done it before.
Okay. I'm ready.
But our body knows what it needs to do to heal, right? It knows how to move. We have what's called implicit memory. So an explicit memory would be the day that you learned to ride a bike. You're like, it was sunny outside. I had my new little pink bike and, my parents were pushing me. Implicit memory is what allows you to jump onto a bike today and ride the bike without even thinking.
Right.
It's memory that you have that you don't need to think about. You don't need your conscious mind for it.
Kind of like muscle memory.
Kind of like muscle memory, yeah. But you can have like traumatic muscle memory.
Yeah.
So you can have like reflexes to things or reactions in your body to things that your mind doesn't even know is trauma, right? So like the smell of coffee could remind your body of your mum used to make coffee in the morning and scream at you to get ready for school, and so you'd be rushing, and so that smell brings up a feeling of anxiety. Really common pairing, but you don't know why. What you can start to do is not working with your mind but working with your body. You can close your eyes and lay down on the ground, taking some nice big deep breaths. And what I like to do is I like to imagine that, sometimes I feel like we can be out of our body. We can be kind of up here a lot.
Looking down at
ourselves, which is like a form of dissociation, like detachment from our humanness and our suffering and our struggling. So what I like to do is close my eyes and I imagine that I'm trying to like locate my soul or my consciousness or whatever you want to call it, the part of you that can witness your thoughts. Because we have our thoughts, right? And then we have a part that can go, why am I thinking about that? We're going to try and find that part. And sometimes it's like in the room, sometimes it's in the sky, sometimes it's in a different planet. We're going to pull it back into our bodies. And a lot of the time, even just the visualization of pulling that back into your body, when you do it.
It's like affected. You're thinking about it now.
Because I can remember what it felt like.
Yeah.
Because when you've got a lot that you're running away from and you consciously bring that attention into your body, you can notice like, it's uncomfortable in here. I don't want to be in here. I kind of want to move. And like you can feel this, you might feel a bit sick or a bit anxious or heavy or like whatever it is, the feelings that you've been avoiding are probably going to come up when you go back in. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be that you're going to cry or scream or, get emotion out. All you need to do in the beginning is to just to feel your body and notice how it wants to move. And some of the movements that my body wants to make sometimes is very strange. Really? But like you might want to like move your head to the side like this, or your arms just might want to shake, or you might want to stomp your feet, or you might just feel like you like this uncomfortableness that makes you want to kind of move. How often have we been in situations where we feel a little bit uncomfortable but you can't just be like, I feel really uncomfortable and like move your body around because there's people around you. You feel stuck. That is being stuck in your body. So one of the most powerful things that I've got women to do is every day lay down, bring themselves into their body and just move their body the way that they want to. And sometimes people message me and they're like, I had this like really messed up, evil, like exorcism sound wanting to come out of me. And I'm like, cool, get it out. They're like, and like screaming and like their hands are doing weird things. And like once they actually are there, but you do it and you can feel when it's done. And then you open your eyes and you're like, whoa, I feel like a different person. Like it leaves you when you allow your body to move. And that's what somatics is essentially. And that's another thing that we pair into the sessions. But
so it's a release.
It is a release. It's a somatic release.
Wow. So, and in that moment, are you then do you find like immediately after that, are you more present?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I can imagine that.
Because whatever you are avoiding, you've moved through in your body. So you open your eyes and it's almost like everything's a little bit clearer, like a bit sharper, and you just feel, it's just such a nice feeling.
Wow.
And like obviously for some people, they close their eyes and a level of emotion, it's really common as well, I should say, for people to do this exercise, close their eyes, come into their body and have this overwhelming feeling and just open their eyes and go, no, not today. I'm not doing it. Yeah.
And that's okay.
And that is okay. It's good to keep trying, but that's to me a pretty clear indication that there's something really big that you can't be with, and it's probably good to have somebody to do it for you, with you, witness you in a session setting. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just a feeling. I always try to teach my clients, like, the panic can't hurt you. The fear can't hurt you. The anxiety can't hurt you. The grief can't hurt you. I know it hurts and it's hard, but it actually is from the past. It's not current. So you can open your eyes at any moment, but wouldn't you rather it out of you than continuing to be inside you and follow you around?
How can we stay consistent with these kind of practices instead of then, almost for want of a better word, weaponizing them against ourselves and then like re-entering the hustle, re-entering them as like a busy checklist that we just need to be like tick, 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 tick.
It really is like a way of life almost.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard because
we're changing lives. We're changing our lives. Okay,
it is a way of life. Yep. No, it is a way of life, because I think the part of us that wants it to just be a quick fix is the part of us that's stuck in survival. So if you heal that part, I think there is a natural progression to want it to be a way of life. You're like, you know what? I actually don't want journaling to be something that I'm like quickly just writing my thoughts down. Like, I actually want to like make my cup of tea and like light my incense and like do it slowly. And like there's a part of you that actually wants to do that.
Well, it also has to be a commitment, right?
It is a commitment.
You really have to commit to that and give yourself and afford yourself the time and the space.
Yeah, because you deserve it. Because I think we've been taught that, especially as women, and this is probably just like a massive sidebar, but I think we've been taught as women to exist in context to people, as someone's wife, as someone's partner, as someone's daughter, as someone's friend. We're like giving, and we're also really only seeing ourselves when someone else is seeing us. And so we don't learn how to like self-validate, self-love, self-worship, we're just only important when someone else is making us feel important and not ourselves. So I think a lot of the time it does come back to like a lot of work around self-worth and around like, not self-worth as in like, treat yourself, like go by how you dress, like self-worth is in like deep inner, like I fucking matter. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
You can, don't worry. You can swear. So
I'm surprised that was my first one, to be honest.
If you are listening to this incredible chat with Jessica Ella and thinking, oh my goodness, this is amazing and I have so many women in my life, people in my life who could benefit from this, make sure that you share this episode. We're going to be right back. It's the thought of going into an empty forest, bushland, something, it's just you, and then being like, scream.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I can't.
Yeah. Because this is women.
Yeah.
I feel like most men probably be like, cool. Okay,
they're
I'll
just
scream.
like, fine.
It's like a woman thing. It's like our throats are closed. Like now we're just tightly,
Right.
I think we've been taught to be like that too. Like, to be proper and hide our bits and hide our emotions and hide everything and just be this like pretty package.
Because even the first attempt I'd have would be really, and this sounds bad, it would be performative.
Yeah.
Like I'd just be like screaming what I think a scream should sound like.
Yes, not like from deep within.
Yeah. Might take a couple goes.
Yeah.
Might take a couple goes.
I do it into a pillow and like, because I run like group events and things as well with women, and it's the same thing. At the start you'll see people will be like, and they're kind of moving like this, and I'm like, move your body, like get into it, like. But then when they like notice everyone else is doing it and there's other people, they get this like permission, and then that it builds, and then everyone's like screaming and crying, stamping and letting it all out. And I feel like, but it's like, it's very performative in the beginning because you don't even know how to connect with that because we push it down so far.
Female rage.
Oh,
it's a real thing.
It leaks out in like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay. I'm great.
I'm fine. Nothing's wrong with me.
How do we maybe is the better phrase. How can we go about closing that gap when it comes to identity about who we feel we are and who we feel we want to be?
Yes.
And the differences between. It's like, can we get there? Is it always healthy to get there? Does there sometimes need to be a reality check of, hang on a second, why do I want to be that.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is like an unhealthy desire, if you will, and a healthy desire. But I don't think we necessarily – we have to know whether it's coming from like a wound or a really positive place. And I think that you can only really know that if you know what your values are. Because a lot of the time there's like this wound that says like, you know, you're not this and you're not that and you should be more like her and prettier and this and more outspoken or more confident or more blah, 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 whatever. And you idolize people and you feel jealous of them because that's kind of what you want. I think that there can be a good and bad in that. And it's like actually looking at why you want what you want, which comes back down to your values. Like, do you want that to be this more confident version of yourself because that's what will feel good or because that's what you think you have to be in order to be accepted? So it's like actually –
and who's accepting you?
Like who's accepting you and why? And why do you believe that you're not already accepted the way that you are? But a lot of the time I think identity really is like most of us, unless we've done some form of identity work or subconscious belief work, we are who the people around us in those childhood years told us we should be, or we're the complete opposite because we didn't want to be, because we were like very rebellious by nature and we were like, no, I'm not going to be like XYZ, which can also be detrimental because then you're like, I'm not going to be like them and you're pushing so hard not to. But I think I always say that desire is a good point to start. Like, what are the traits that you desire? Not the physical aspects, right? Not like I want that hair and I want that body and I want that career and that money and stuff. What are the actual traits in people that you admire? Like, I remember when I started doing identity work, I was like, okay, I have this one friend who says like literally whatever she is thinking. Like, she has no filter. Like, you'll be at her house and she'll be like, I kind of want you to go home now. And I'm like, whoa, that's so rude. But then I'd go away and be like, I wish I could be like that.
I love that. I've got a friend, a really good friend who I'll be on the phone to. And you know when you just get caught in a conversation and then you spend like, I don't know, the last 5 minutes being like, how do I end this in a great way and not like a bad way, not a rude way and all of this. And she'll just go, anyway, I've got to go now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
It's like jarring.
Oh, it is jarring. But at the same time, I'm like, I love that for her and I wish I could do that more often.
Yeah.
And be like, anyway, I got stuff to do. Bye.
Yeah.
Because I don't take it personally.
No. Yeah. And it's directness. And I think we don't do that because we're afraid that people will interpret that as da, 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 da.
Yes.
So I started looking. I want to be as direct as her, but I also have this other friend that is just like always relaxed, always chill. Nothing's a worry. Everything's always just like, this is meant to be happening. Like, she's always positive. And I have this other. And I looked for traits that I loved in people and was like, there's a part of me that desires to be like that for a reason. Like, you and I wouldn't have the same desires because we're different people with different desires. Yeah. And so we have to actually take our desires as that's where we're meant to go. You have the desire because that's what's actually meant for you. And so closing the gap looks like, well, if this is where I am, if I'm shy and quiet, but I actually really want to be speaking on stages and have this like confidence in a really big voice, why can't I? Like, what would it take to get to that? But also, who told me that I'm shy? Who told me that I've always been like this? And why was I like that? And actually starting to heal at that subconscious level so that we can – it's almost like updating your software on like a computer program. It sounds silly, but it's like if I want those features, I have to like update this old programming.
Oh, well, with that update, because we are trying to fix our nervous system, for want of a better word. We want to regulate it. Yeah. Better regulate it. When we are in the process of slowing down and our brain is telling us, no, go again. Oh, what should we tell ourselves in those moments to stay firm?
Oh, it's
stick with it.
It's honestly like, I think it's actually more a case of catching yourself once you've slipped back into it because you don't know you are. You think okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm into it. And then you're like, whoa, I'm rushing again. So it's having that self-awareness. And this is where it's a way of life because if you're having those regular practices, you're going to realize. And it doesn't need to be this huge thing. Like, it doesn't need to be laying on the ground feeling your emotions. It could be an alarm that goes off on your phone 4 times a day that when the alarm goes off, you stop and you go, what was I just thinking about? Was I just rushing? Am I rushing around everywhere? Or was I just thinking negative things about myself? Why was I thinking those things? Where did that come from? and in your notes app, just write down the thoughts that you were having so that you can later on investigate, why do I believe that about myself? Where
and
are
also,
these thoughts
it's like
coming
another
from?
release, another purge, right? It's like get it down, get it out.
Get it
so then
out.
that's
Yeah.
there. When we are feeling our feelings and we are in that process, how do we not get caught in the overwhelm of all of that? Like for me, that presents itself as like I'll be trying to figure things out and then I'll just cry. And I'm not meaning to cry, but then I'll just cry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, this is annoying. Stop crying. Like how can we best manage that?
I think, well, firstly, we have to view the crying as a positive because
Okay, I'm bad at that. Yep,
because I think of it as like a bucket that like it's been building over time. And sometimes people start doing the healing work and then they're like, I feel worse because there's all these emotions coming up. I'm like, that's a good thing. It's coming up and out so that you can release it because you haven't been releasing it for a long time. So eventually you find this, you have to lean into the opposite. If you never cry and you hate emotions and you hate showing emotions, there's going to be a period of time where you have to fully lean into that so that you're so comfortable with emotions that eventually you just show them when it's relevant,
right?
Not all the time. But so I think we have to become, first of all, comfortable with our emotions, which is, again, really difficult thing to do for a lot of people because we're taught to push them down, ignore them, avoid them. Other people get uncomfortable when we show them as well. So we have to find a way to get comfortable with that, which a lot of the time is, again, connecting with other women who are doing the same thing because you don't feel so strange when you're around other women that get it. So joining a group program or, healing work with somebody who everything goes and who's done it is a really powerful way to do it. I think there's a temptation to do a lot of the work on your own. And I know that I did that for years because it was like, I'd rather, like, that's protective, right? I'd rather just
Is
do
it
it
that
on
self-conscious thing again? I feel like I'd be like, well, no, this is, and also maybe it's not wanting to burden other people. Maybe,
100%, which is also trauma, survival, like learned behavior. Because again, I know people in my life that don't see asking anything of anybody as a burden. They're just like, no, people are there to help you. What? So that again is learned behavior. So burdening somebody, but I think it's I say to my clients sometimes, like, if you had a rotten tooth, you're not going to go and get some pliers and rip it out yourself. Like, you're going to go to a dentist. Why would you expect that if you've never been taught how to manage your emotions, how to actually correctly feel them, how to work with your subconscious mind, all of that, why would you expect to be able to do that on your own? Like, you need somebody who knows that in and out to be able to guide you through that safely in the same way that the dentist can pull the tooth out. But I think that our obsession with this, like, it's protection, like wanting to protect ourselves. It always comes back to protection from other people, from burdening them, from being vulnerable. It feels vulnerable to cry in front of a group of women that you don't know, or, we're protecting ourselves from those things. But actually in that isolation, it makes the process so much harder. I find so many women that are like, they come to me for sessions and they're like, yeah, so I've got this attachment style and this belief and blah, 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 and I know this, and they've read all the books and they're like, they know all the things, and like, so I'm pretty sure it's this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. And then we go in and it's something completely different because what your mind is telling you is the problem is what your mind wants you to think is the problem so that it can protect you from what the real problem actually is. So I think for women that are like, oh, I need to do this, like, find someone you trust and work through it with them because that's what they're there for. That's what they're made to do.
How can we set the tone then for 2026? How can we go into the year as our best selves?
I think we have to really think about, number one, values. Like, sounds so morbid, but if you knew that if 2026 was going to be your last year on earth, you only had 1 year, what would be the most important thing? Like, what would you want to do and achieve in that year, and what would matter the most? You're going to get a pretty quick understanding of your values. I know for me, it's like I'd spend every day with my kids. So it's like, oh, but if that's my value and I'm hustling and ignoring my kids and not actually spending quality time with them, I'm living out of line with my values, I'm going to be miserable. So we have to look at, and I know people will be like, yeah, but it might not be your last year and you've got to think about the future. No, you don't. You just, you just think about what matters most. Think about your values and make sure that you're aligning with your values, because that's when we start to get miserable, when we're out of line with those values. For me, it's like, I love, like, my happiest place is this health food shop near my house. It's like an organic grocer. And whenever I go in there with my basket, I'm just like, oh, life is so good. Like, I know that makes me feel so happy. And I'll go through months where I forget to go or I don't go. And I'm like, why did I forget to do that? Like, we have to think about those places that give us joy and the things that we value the most in life, so that we can then align this identity that we want to create with that. Like, your actions have to line up with your values. Otherwise, you will always be unhappy.
That's how we thrive.
Yeah, and that's how we thrive. So write your values down and then look at that gap, like you said, with the identity. Look at the gap between who you are and who you want to be, and know that it's not fixed. It's not fixed. Like, if you're like, oh, I'm a shy person and I'm just really quiet and I've always been anxious, or I'm just, no, those are labels. They're not actually who you are. And if there is a desire to be something different, it's there for a reason. So book a session, do the work, because like I said, you can't change through education alone. Like, you can read all the books and you can know what the subconscious mind is, and you can know what somatics is, you can know what all of that is, but unless you're actually doing it, it's the year of action.
The year of action. I love that.
It's the year of the horse.
I'm obsessed with this. I'm so glad that you mentioned the year of the horse. I mean, I don't know if it's just my algorithm, but like 2025 was a time. Like
Snake.
The snake, the year of the snake. And it really was. And so, but that's okay, because we're shedding it. And then that clears the path for the year of the horse 2026 to come through and move you forward.
Yes.
Action.
Yes, action. But like calm action.
Sorry. You're so right. I've come at that from a rushing perspective.
No,
we're not
yeah,
rushing anymore.
But I was the same. I was the same. I was like, horse, it's like energy, power, like fast. And then I was like, oh, how do we do that slowly?
Just a trot. Just a wee trot.
Yeah.
Listeners will be listening to our conversation. Where can they find you? Like, what work do you have coming up? Where are they best to be able to reach you?
Yeah. I think my website is like the hub for everything. It's jessicaella.com.au. And on there's a few different offerings. So like, obviously I have Aruka, which is the therapy, which I teach people who want to become a therapist themselves. Like, so people who want to actually create a business, start working with women with subconscious somatics, energetics. And then there's an online clinic. So at the moment, I only open a couple of spots per year myself for one-on-one work. But I created a clinic with my top therapists. And so all of my social media following, anybody that listens to podcasts, it's like, I need to try this therapy. There's a clinic there with 4 women who see all of my clients, so they can help you with that actual shifting of everything. And then I have a program as well called Trigger to Thriving. So that's basically like everything we talked about today and so much more. It's like 25 units, and it's literally, I mapped out over like 15 years of my journey. Okay, once I dealt with the trauma, what was next? It was like, I wanted more power. I wanted more freedom. I wanted more love. I wanted to feel more sexy. I wanted better relationships. And then after that, I wanted to be seen, or I wanted to feel louder. I wanted to speak my opinions without being afraid, or, I went through those layers of like, okay. And then I looked at all of my clients and was like, they go through the same stages. Once they've got this, they want this, and then they step into this. And so I mapped it out into a program that takes women through that. And it's got recorded healing sessions in it as well that are quite activating, quite intense. So I've got a community alongside that. So anybody who goes into that comes into the community, and I then can answer their questions, guide them. And I do like fortnightly group sessions and things like that. Because again, doing it on your own is like a bit of a protective thing. So I make them come into the group and share. And so yeah, that's the main things that I kind of offer.
I can relate to a lot of those wants, and I'm sure everyone listening can too. And final time, what do you hope that the woman listening to this, the person listening to this episode, got from our conversation?
I just hope that they know that like no amount of suffering is worth living with. Like you can heal it. Like, no matter what you think, if you think your problem is too small, you think that, oh, you know, like, I don't have that much to work on, but you're feeling lonely or anxious or, you know, you're rushing around, like, it's worth looking at because it's scary in the beginning, but it's a completely different life out the other side. And it's just so like, oh, sometimes I wish I could just like transfer the way that I feel to people because it is really empowering. And I want every woman to know that they deserve to do that work as well. Because as I said, a lot of the time we're self-sacrificing. We're sacrificing for other people. We're meeting everyone else's needs. And I feel like I want women to know that they actually deserve this and that if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the people that you love to begin with, because that was me. Like I was like, I need to be a better person for the people around me and then for my kids. And, you know, once you start to do that work, it ripples on and affects everybody in your life, especially your kids. For any mums that are listening, like I had a really cool example the other day of a client that had come into the clinic and she'd seen one of my therapists, Sophie, and she dealt with all of this trauma. And the next session, 1 week later, she went back to her to kind of go through another layer. And she said the craziest thing happened 2 days after the session. Once I really felt the shift, my daughter, who is in like grade 1 or 2, and she's had separation anxiety since kindergarten, every day crying, went to school fine. Like no other idea of what's happened. And she's like, when I healed my anxiety and my trauma and my separation anxiety and these things from my childhood, it's rippled into her. And all the mums at school are like, what did you do? What happened? And she's like, I healed myself. Because they can feel that. They can feel that that we're uneasy and that we're not feeling safe, and they think they need to be with us because something's wrong. So like that's on like a physical level, but even on like a more woo-woo level, like generationally, I feel like when we heal ourselves, we do heal the people around us, especially our kids. So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for somebody else that you love first, and eventually you'll love yourself enough to keep doing it for yourself.
Jessica, Ella, thank you so much for being with us on Fernwood Unfiltered.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure that you share this episode with the women in your life who deserve to feel strong, who deserve to feel capable, and who deserve to feel confident again too. Talk to you soon in the next episode. Thanks for listening to another episode of Fernwood Unfiltered. Just a quick note that the information shared in our episodes is for general educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. So always seek the guidance of a qualified health professional regarding any medical condition or concerns you may have. Catch you in the next episode.